Hey guys, welcome to my video. So tonight's video is a little bit different. I built a brand new circuit. So let's go over the motor first. So this is one of my window motors. It has a 3/4 inch neo magnet in it, and we got two coils in parallel, and then we have an optical timing. So it basically flip-flops from here to here depending on the polarity. And then this circuit, which was quite a little project, is basically a Tesla switch, except that it's a capacitor version. So basically what happens is these are all together, these and these, and so on the first phase, when the timing's over here on this one, these two turn on. It charges these capacitors up from the battery in parallel, and so the power goes through the coil, through the switches into here, and then as it turns around, now these two turn off and this one turns on. It puts both capacitor banks in series, so essentially charging this way and then in series, and then discharging back through the motor the opposite polarity. So it's kind of like putting an AC wave on the motor. So it actually goes in series and then back to the battery and then parallel to the motor. So it's a pretty neat little circuit. It's a simpler version of the Tesla switch. You only need one battery, which is kind of nice. But yeah, so let's fire it up and you guys can see how she works. So with no load, here's our waveform. And if you notice, we're on 2 volts per square, so 4 volts and 4 volts, even though we're using a 12 volt battery. Maybe we could zoom in a little bit more on that. So that's the waveform, and then as we load it and slow down, they actually start changing quite a bit. And here's our amps going in. So we're using 64 milliamps, 65 milliamps. There's our battery voltage right here. What's interesting is because the power is going in and back, if you put this onto AC, it says that we're using almost a half an amp back and forth, so which is kind of interesting. And then back to DC, it tells us we're only using 63 milliamps. But the motor runs really good. It has quite a bit of torque because it has both polarities. It's kind of like a H-bridge switch, how it works, but a lot simpler. So yeah, so why don't we shut this down, and we'll put this fan on here to give a little bit different effect. So we'll put this on here so there's a different load. So let's line up the switching. So now we're using half an amp DC, and then so it says AC. AC you get almost 2 amps AC. It's really interesting. Battery's still coming down. With the waveform now, we got a little bit of pulses, but we're still basically using only 4 volts each phase, which is interesting. But it runs really smooth. So I just built it, just started testing it and running different loads to see if something happens with the chemistry, if it destroys the battery, or if the battery actually likes it. So yeah, pretty cool. Just started testing it. Even though it doesn't look like much, there's quite a bit underneath. So yeah. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to check out my store.